Are you interested in learning how to gather and store leaves to use when you are eco-printing? My name is Nicola Brown. I'm developing a sustainable textile practice in rural southeast Ireland. And during this video, I'll share with you when to gather leaves, different methods for storing them, my favourite leaves that I recommend collecting, and how to reconstitute them when you are going to eco-print. The first question to ask is, when is it a good time to gather leaves? Is there a specific season or a specific weather condition? And I like to think that there is no specific season. Every season is a good season to gather leaves. However, autumn usually starts a frenzy in the eco-printing world. But honestly, you can save leaves, bark, flowers, catkins and seed pods at any time during the year. This handful of large Quercus dentata leaves, this is the Korean oak, these leaves were gathered from the ground under the trees in my garden during the summer. All parts of the eucalyptus tree, bark, leaves, twigs, seed pods may be gathered at any time of the year. And the day or the weather conditions that I recommend, there are different conditions for different leaves. So the tougher leaves such as oak and eucalyptus, I tend to gather those after the rain. Also eucalyptus bark. All other vegetation I collect in drier times whenever I have a few minutes to spare. Once you've gathered leaves, there are different ways of saving them, and these include storing them dry, wet, in the fridge, in the freezer, or by pressing them. Leaves that I find suitable to store dry include oak, sycamore, cherry, and eucalyptus. I'm sure there are more, but those are my favourites. At Clasheen, I have planted over 900 eucalyptus trees, and all part of the tree is wonderful to store wet. I just pop them in large containers and leave them soaking. Then that tannin-rich eucalyptus water I use for topping up my printing pots. And the leaves themselves actually go very slimy, but they print marvellously after they have been soaking, even for months on end. And they give different colours than if I use them fresh or dry. If learning more about eco-printing without traditional powdered mordants and using the dirty pot method interests you, I'll pop a link in the video description below. Another method of storing leaves is in the fridge, and this is wonderful in hotter climates and with softer vegetation. It's only really useful in the short term, so for longer term storing, freezing, I would lay the leaves in flat piles within a Ziploc bag, and I've done this very successfully with cotinus. One final and very successful way of saving leaves is to press them within sheets of newspaper under heavy weights. I don't have time for this myself, but I believe many people do. And reconstituting leaves is done very simply by soaking them in either plain or rust water until they are soft and pliable. Frozen leaves need to be defrosted fully. Some of my top picks to save include eucalyptus, sycamore, also known as sycamore maple in America, oak, although it is important to note that without traditional mordants, not all varieties print well. Cherry, I love both the wild and cultivated cherry leaves. They print beautifully in the dirty pot at times. And I also am sure not to neglect damaged leaves, because often these give the most interesting prints. And liquid amber is a contender many people use, although I don't have it here at Clasheen myself. And I also don't collect softer leaves such as blackberry or rose, as they're available here all the year round. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be uploading tips, advice and mini tutorials from Clashin on a weekly basis. Thank you for watching and happy eco printing.